talk about political theater. I mean, playing games with people's lives, like with their lives.
The current project, as planned, would cost too much and respectfully take too long.
This is scandalous. Millions of people worldwide felt forced to get vaccinated.
Whoa! European Parliament had a hearing with Pfizer, and what came out of that was pretty dang fascinating. Kamala Harris went on the Seth Meyers show, did some late night TV, and did what Kamala does, so we'll bring that to you. Also, the bullet train in California got scorched by the New York Times, of all people, and Gavin Newsom apparently didn't disagree entirely, which is interesting to say nonetheless. All that more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Jobob. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
That might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker, completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. On today, it is October 11th, the year of our Lord 2022. A lot is happening around the world yet again. Really interesting committee hearing from a European Parliament meeting with Pfizer, nonetheless. You guys have heard of Pfizer? It's a drug company. They manufacture different pharmaceuticals. And I don't know if you've heard recently, there was this big global pandemic that was caused by China being rude to the rest of the world. And Pfizer was at the forefront of it. But again, in case you haven't heard, I don't know if you guys all know who Pfizer is. But that'll be the first thing we want to get into, because I feel like this is pretty dang fascinating. Now, just to kind of set this up, give it some context here. At the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, everyone was looking for a vaccine. Everyone also said there's never been a coronavirus vaccine before. Remember, coronaviruses are normal things that have been around since the dawn of time, and nobody's ever been able to figure out a vaccine for them. So is what it is. Finally, a year into it, 9 months into it, these companies, these pharmaceutical companies, actually, 3 days after the election in 2020, we're like, we got a vaccine. And then immediately the president of the United States, I also think I think Trump thought this too, by the way. And I don't know that he's at fault. I think he was just lied to by everybody else who was also lying. But I'm pretty sure Trump also said, Joe Biden said, Dr. Fauci said, Dr. Birx, the entire mainstream media all said, hey, get this shot and you'll be protecting others. You won't be able to get the shot so you can protect grandma. Okay, fine. At the time, supposedly, and that's what I'm getting at here. This is what's, I think, groundbreaking about this. This is not stuff we didn't know already, quote unquote, medically, but it is stuff we didn't know in terms of what went on in the internal workings of Pfizer. The entire media, the entire administration, all that sort of people, everybody was saying, get the vaccine so you can protect other people. It's about protecting other people as well as yourselves, because there's no reason for, I don't know, people, let's just say, who are around 30, healthy, active males, me, to get the shot. There's no real reason, except if you were going to protect other people. That was the common thread being pulled by everybody. Now, obviously, we've later found out that you still can, one, contract the virus, but also spread it. Now, we found that out as a society as a whole after a ton of studies were done. But what went on inside of Pfizer apparently is fascinating, and also is just now coming to the surface. A European parliamentary member by the name of Robert Roos, I believe is his name, posted a video that's gotten a ton of attention. Rob Roos, MEP, member of European Parliament, JA21 Vice Chair ECR. I don't know what that is. I am not a big European parliamentary systems guy. But his Twitter bio says, fear is a poor basis for decision making. I don't disagree with him there. Anyways, he put out this video that's been getting some major traction the last couple days. regarding a question that he asked a Pfizer exec. Now, I'm going to let him ask the question, and just watch the response. This is fascinating. And also, Scott Adams of Dilbert fame tweeted this out and said, "Why are we just now hearing about this?" And which is, I was like, yeah, why are we just now hearing about this? Anyways, I feel like that's enough context for you to know going into this. He asked he asks Pfizer, "Hey, did you guys do any testing in your testing phases to show that you're not going to spread this, or was this just kind of made up?" Watch this clip. Also, by the way, if you haven't already, would really appreciate you clicking the like button or the little very, very angry button, especially on Facebook, or the little share button and the little share button, or let us know in the comment section what you think. Because, again, we all knew this, except for we didn't know what was happening inside of Pfizer and what they knew when they knew it, while Dr. Fauci and everybody was going around saying, oh, this will protect other people. What was going on in the Pfizer offices? Anyways, watch this clip. This is fascinating. Check it out.
Was the Pfizer COVID vaccine tested on stopping the transmission of the virus before it entered the market? If not, please say it clearly. If yes, are you willing to share the data with this committee? And I really want a straight answer, yes or no, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Regarding the question around, did we know about stopping immunisation before it's entered the market? No. We had to really move at the speed of science to really understand what is taking place in the market.
This is scandalous. Millions of people worldwide felt forced to get vaccinated because of the myth that you do it for others. Now this turned out to be a cheap lie.
So here's the question that now everybody's asking. Look, okay, again, just to be clear, we all knew this, but we knew it several months, even years later, right? So timeline here, the jab gets introduced, the high-level people get it end of 2020, early 2021. Then March, April, it becomes available to pretty much everybody. And through that entire period, the whole narrative was get it for other people. If you get it, you won't get COVID-19 and you won't spread COVID-19. Those were the two things that constantly were in the mouths of your Dr. Fauci's, even, again, your Dr. Birx's, all of the mainstream media, literally all of the mainstream media, Jen Psaki, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, everybody was saying you won't get it and you won't spread it. Now, obviously, in the last year, so later 2021, early 2022, we started seeing all of these studies come out saying, oh, wait, by the way, you still can get it. These breakthrough cases aren't so breakthrough. They're just normal. And you can still spread it. We all knew that. But during Pfizer's initial testing all the way through mid-2020, so August, September, even October of 2020, when they're running testing, they are not, according to this Pfizer executive, they are not testing whether or not you can spread it. Okay? Does that make sense? What they just admitted there was that Pfizer was not testing whether or not you can still spread the disease after getting the shot. So then the question is, why was Dr. Fauci, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, the entire mainstream media, everybody in the COVID media bubble world saying that was going to, what basis were they going on? And also, when they were saying that sort of stuff, when Fauci was out there saying, and Joe Biden was saying, and Kamala Harris was saying, you can't spread it, why was Pfizer silent? There's obviously two parties to blame here. The party of the mainstream media, the jab enthusiasts, which I see a lot of you comments on here saying that jab culture is a disease, which, seems like that would be the case. And again, I know I've reiterated this a number of times. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't take it. I'm just telling you what is. But curious, on the fault of the media and Fauci's side, why did they start saying that? Was that just another quote-unquote little lie in order to get people to, quote unquote, do the right thing. Because remember, Dr. Fauci is known for that, and it's admitted to doing so. Remember the whole mask situation? You don't need masks. Well, I really lied to the American people because I didn't want them buying up the masks for the hospitals. You don't get to do that, dude. You don't get to do that. And also, it cheapens your ability to convince people of other things if you just lie to them consistently and say, well, I did it for your sake. That doesn't help. Dr. Fauci had a big track record of that. So where did they get that? Was it just a quote-unquote lie to hope to get people to get the shot? I don't know. And also on the fault of Pfizer and your big pharmaceutical companies. And we haven't heard, I don't think we've heard from Moderna, from Johnson & Johnson, from AstraZeneca, from any of the other vaccine makers. What did they know when they knew it? Because at this point, it seems that in around November, December of 2020, January, February of 2021, all those 4 to 6 to 8 months that, again, your mainstream media, your Fauci's, your Biden's, your Harris's, were all saying, get the jab, it'll protect others. Why did nobody from the Pfizer pharmaceutical company say, hey, yeah, we didn't test that. I don't know why you're saying that. And also, at what point does Pfizer say something? Like, what if Dr. Fauci, and I understand that this is probably an extreme example, what if Dr. Fauci said, get the Pfizer vaccine and you will be able to fly. No encumbrance whatsoever. You will be able to fly as a human being. If he went out and said that, does Pfizer go, yeah, hey, this is not true? Or do they just stay silent and let Dr. Fauci continue being their marketing sales team for people taking the vaccine? I don't know. But what did they know and when did they know it? And who chose to not say anything? I mean, seriously, even like a month after Dr. Fauci was out there saying it'll protect others, Pfizer could have put a press release out saying, just FYI, we did not test for this. Why is it that 2.5 years later, now let's be fair here, when the actual thing came out, so like 2 years later, a year and a half at least, is it finally some British parliamentary member? Oh, he's not British. I don't know what country he is from, actually. He's a European parliamentary member, but a member of the European Parliament. Why is it that a year and a half later that it was up to that guy to ask, hey, did you guys study this at all? And I go, no, we didn't at all. Oh, okay. Even though we all knew retroactively what Dr. Fauci was saying was a lie, it seems now pretty clear that he kind of just made it up. He wasn't basing it on, well, we thought this, and, turns out we were wrong. No, that would be one thing entirely. But what it would seem like is that he didn't have any research to back it up, and Pfizer didn't provide that research, and nobody did that research. Fauci just decided to make something up, coming as a shock to no one. Wow, I feel like I rambled on about that a little bit. So that's that. You guys want to hear that clip one more time? So there's a lot more people on right now than were on at the beginning. Just for them, and we don't usually do this, I'm going to play that clip one more time. There are literally several hundreds of people more. I'm going to play this clip from the European Parliament hearing of this guy asking the Pfizer executive, hey, did you guys test this at all? Let's play this one more time. Watch this.
Was the Pfizer COVID vaccine tested on stopping the transmission of the virus before it entered the market? If not, please say it clearly. If yes, are you willing to share the data with this committee? And I really want a straight answer, yes or no, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Regarding the question around, did we know about stopping immunisation before it's entered the market? No. We had to really move at the speed of science to really understand what is taking place in the market.
This is scandalous. Millions of people worldwide felt forced to get vaccinated because of the myth that you do it for others. Now this turned out to be a cheap lie.
Yeah, so that turned out to be the case. I want to get to some comments here. Peter says it's all lies, Biden, and this is the problem. Look, right, and we try to be fair on this show about things. When Joe Biden does something that I think is good for America, personally, my opinion, try to say it. But at the same time, when he does something very, very bad and lies about something, and again, at this point, now, I'll give Joe Biden some grace because I would imagine that he was just listening to the doctors in his circle, including Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci doesn't get any grace here because he clearly knows better. And he's probably just making things up because he likes to make things up at the cost of, well, a lot. But the problem is when you have an institution that lies to people constantly about what they think in order to push a specific agenda or goal, you tend to not trust them in the future. And you can't blame anybody for not trusting the CDC, the FDA, the NIH, Joe Biden, Dr. Fauci, Kamala Harris, any of them, because of this sort of stuff. I don't know. Lots of people very upset. Lies and corruption. Fauci is a fake. Yep. Peter again says it's all about the money. Kimberly says money, dollar bill. Yep. What song is that? Can you let me know in the comment section? That is a song I think you're quoting. So Dottie says follow the money. Correct. And lots of people saying the puke face. Yeah. Well, so that's the case. That's it. If you missed that whole screen, you can watch this back wherever you're watching this. I'm not going to play it a third time. Bottom line here is Pfizer, turns out that nobody asked them, hey, did you guys check and see if Pfizer themselves said that this vaccine would stop the spread of COVID, or they just stayed silent when everybody else was saying it? Anyways, all right. I want to move on to this. Kamala Harris on late night. She went on Seth Meyers' show, and okay. So look, I used being new at this as not an excuse, but kind of like a, hey, I'm not entirely sure what we should bring on, but I'm coming to realize that the longer I do this sort of show / commentary, I probably will never know what the appropriate amount of stuff is. I get kind of a feeling of how much we should play Kamala Harris bumbling through TV interviews, but I don't actually know what the correct amount is. So here's again, Kamala Harris. It would be better for me. Well, it would be better for me if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris didn't do any media appearances, or at least did substantially less, because then we wouldn't be forced to play the dumb things that they say on this show. But at the same time, if they did less, I would be at the forefront complaining about them never being available to the media. So there's that. Kamala Harris went on Seth Meyers' show last night and started complaining about using migrants to push a political agenda. Interesting, and also somewhat ironic, Ms. Kamala Harris. So watch this clip. This is from the late night show with Seth Meyers, and see what you think. Let me know in the comment section what you think about Kamala Harris's response to Governor Abbott, Governor Ducey, Governor Ron DeSantis, sending migrants all over the country to make it known in the elitist blue enclaves that this is a problem at the border. Check it out. Oh, also, by the way, if you haven't already, click the little like button that should be right down here. Maybe right down, hold on, right here. And the little share button that is over here, especially if you're watching on Facebook. We really appreciate you doing that. We are streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, Getter, YouTube. Hi, Getter. So yeah, wouldn't mind doing that, sharing it. Really, really helpful, especially with the whole COVID thing. People need to know about the COVID thing. That's going to be huge. I think we're going to do a couple reels on that, so share. Anyways, watch this.
We're talking about people who have fled great harm. They've fled great harm. And they are coming here seeking refuge. And talk about political theater. I mean, playing games with people's lives, with their lives. There were mothers with sleeping babies getting off those buses. And I just think it's an absolute dereliction of duty. If you see a problem, and if we agree that we need to address it, then if you're a leader, participate in a solution right? When we first came in office, the first bill that we proposed was for a pathway for citizenship, was to fix a broken immigration system, which was broken under the previous administration. Participate in the solution, because we are offering solutions. But instead, this gamesmanship with real human beings who trust us.
I love that line. Now, again, I'm not feeling so much of an exasperated mood today of just, I think we just handle this calmly like adults, Kamala Harris saying. Well, participate in the solution. Governors of states, please solve the problems that I created. Why can't you just solve the problems that the administration has created? Oh, we're trying to fix a broken immigration system. Yeah, that's fine. That's not what's going on at the southern border at all. You want to talk about broken immigration system? Fine. Go get together with Congress, people on both sides of the aisle, figure out how many people we should let in every single year on an immigration system. Not hard to do. Very, very easy to do. I guarantee you, if I sat in a room, let's pick somebody in Amy Klobuchar, for example. She's pretty woke sometimes, but senator from Minnesota or Michigan, one of those M states, Democrat, but somewhat reasonable, right? If I sat in a room with her, I get, I don't know, a couple days, figure out the whole thing. Not a hard thing to do. Very, very easy to do, actually. You just figure out how many people you let in, and then figure out how to stop everybody else. Quite simple. But I just love the idea of Kamala Harris saying, governors, be a part of the solution that I caused, the problem that I caused. I need you to be a part of the solution. What else did she say in there? Oh, they're playing games with human lives. Yeah, ditto. Same thing. Doing the same thing. Wow, a lot of comments in there that I thought were, is she for real? Yeah. Also, I tweeted the other day that I thought it's fascinating too, also for me to see what gets traction on Twitter /Getter / any of the social media things that I post. It's fascinating to see what gets traction, and some of the things that get traction are hilarious. I very, very sarcastically, but it's difficult to be sarcastic in text, said, I wonder if stopping people at the border would help the fentanyl crisis. And that went wild. And there's also that. You want to talk about playing games with people's lives? Hey, the Chinese-made fentanyl drug that's coming over from the Mexican drug cartels is killing 100,000 Americans a year. I would rather, quote unquote, if we're talking about playing games with people's lives, and I understand that this is not a direct correlation or direct fair argument, probably, but it serves its purpose. I would rather talk about people being bused to different cities and flown to different towns than playing games with people's lives in terms of fentanyl overdoses. So there's that. And of course, after this, Kamala Harris gave one of her trademark Kamala-isms when talking about children. Watch this. I can't bring myself to get super excited about this. Check it out.
But I mean, truly, when when you see our kids, and I truly believe that they are our children, they are the children of our country, of our communities. I mean, our future is really bright if we prioritize them, and therefore prioritize the climate crisis and the need to address.
The children are the future, and they're our children, and we need to focus on the children, and therefore. Climate change, I guess, I don't know, education. Remember how kids were locked out of school for a year and a half, and that learning loss will probably never be made up, according to a lot of people. But we know what we need to do for the children? Fix climate change. All right. I watched a really interesting Rush Limbaugh clip last night. And this is like Rush from like the late 80s, early 90s, I think, on TV. Saying he was responding to Al Gore. Remember Al Gore? He was responding to Al Gore when Al Gore, I believe, was a senator, saying, hey, we only have 10 years to fix this problem. Al Gore was saying that, and that was the argument on the left, like the early 90s. I don't know if you've known this, but it's been more than 10 years since the early 90s. Things are still chugging along just fine. So every time there seems to be a fever pitch of, we only have a limited amount of time to change course, that timeline seems to keep moving. And also, Rush made a good point saying, well, if that's the case and we only have this limited amount of time, it's not like we're going to be able to do anything anyway. So, okay. I want to get to some of these comments. I think they're kind of funny. This is how I feel, Terry. She's in way over her head. Jeez. Yeah, that's kind of, I kind of feel when I look at Kamala Harris, I roll my eyes and go, geez, man, I feel bad, honestly. Because this woman is in way over her head. And I thought this was funny too. Linda said, it would be better for America if they step down. Now, here's a question. I heard this on a radio show and it was an idea proposed, but I'm curious to see what you think in the comment section. And also, we're not going to get to the bullet train thing today because I feel like we spent way too much time talking about, and by we, I mean me, we spent way too much time talking about the Pfizer craziness. And I really want to be able to give the bullet train thing full shrift. But here, let me pose this question to people on the comment section, and let me think of, well, let me ask you if this would be a good use of taxpayer dollars. If, hypothetically, Congress got together and said, we are going to give both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris $1 billion in order to resign, would that be a good use of taxpayer dollars? Let me know in the comments section. Is that a yay or a nay? What would you vote? If your senator or representative, senator or representative, voted to give Kamala Harris and Joe Biden each $1 billion to resign their office, would that be a good use of taxpayer money? I'm inclined to say yes. Retroactively, it would have been great. If we could have, day one, given them $1 billion each to resign, we would have saved $3 trillion in spending. So I'm curious. Sheila says nay. That's fine. Cool. We can disagree on that. Robin says yes. That would be a good use of taxpayer money. Barbara also says yes. Karen says yep. Pay him to leave. Pam also says yes. Frank says give it to him today. Phil says yeah, that's a bargain. That's my thought. My thought is yeah, this seems like a bargain, right? If you're just tuning in right now and I see the thing like click up sometimes, we're asking the question, is it a good use of taxpayer money if Congress were to get together and pass a law that said we're going to give Joe Biden and Kamala Harris each $1 billion to resign? I think we would save money, especially with all the stuff that's getting passed through. Look, just play with this with me. The president's student loan thing, the executive order, which, by the way, is not going to come true, just so you know, a bunch of the states are suing the federal government because they should, because it's extraordinarily unfair. It's unconstitutional. It's probably, we won't go there. Joe Biden, with a single stroke of a pen, I think the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, the nonpartisan people in Congress that are like, yeah, this is what it's going to cost, said it's like $300 billion. If it were to go through. It's not going to, but let's just say hypothetically it goes through. Instead of that, if we gave Joe Biden $1 billion, we'd save $300 billion. And we wouldn't be so unfair to people who had paid their college debts. Let me see. Terry says, yeah, we're throwing away trillions. Judy says, yes. Danny says, pretty much everybody's like, yeah, that would be a good use of taxpayer dollar. Another Terry says, absolutely today. Rhonda says, yes, yes, yes. Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. Good point, dude. This is a very, very good point. We'll ask the question. Julia says, depending on who's replacing them. Jimmy says, and this is correct, but then we're going to have to deal with President Pelosi. Oh, no, I think I might have changed my mind here. Let's just say after the midterms, that would be a good idea because then, I don't know, it's a Republican probably in charge of the House, probably Kevin McCarthy. definitely better. I'm not sure by how much. Wow, a lot of people in the comments section saying that yes, they would agree. Stacey says 1 billion times to yes. Yep. Anyways. Some of you guys in the comment section crack me up. I really appreciate it. Anyways, let's see. That's probably all. So just things to catch up on. Tomorrow, Joe Biden is giving a sit-down interview, I believe, today to Jake Tapper, which is really interesting because Jake Tapper, like him or not, he's with CNN, but also he seems more of like a center lefty, but he's a good journalist. Regardless of whether or not you agree with him, Jake Tapper is a good journalist. I'm hopeful that he's going to hit Biden hard on some stuff. With the midterm elections only 4 weeks away, President Biden will seek to make his party at ease with a sit-down interview airing in primetime on CNN tonight, I believe. So be careful to watch out. Not be careful, but be aware. Watch out for that. Also, the G7 met. And we'll discuss a little bit that maybe tomorrow about Russia, Ukraine. We'll also hopefully get to the bullet train thing. But again, we spent a lot of time on Pfizer, and from the comments section, it would seem that that was a good idea because a lot of people were fired up about that. Anyways, that's going to do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around for the 2 groundbreaking stories that we did get to this morning. Really appreciate you doing so. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media platforms. Just type in JOBOB pretty much anywhere. You'll be able to find me. Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, also Gitter. We're streaming on Gitter now. This is going on week 3, I think, on Gitter. So hello, Gitter. Great to see you. Happy to have you here. Appreciate you tuning in today. And let's see, tomorrow, what's today? Tuesday. Tomorrow, if you are in Austin, Texas, I believe I'm at the University of Texas tomorrow. Come say hi. I would love to see you. I don't know specifically I'm allowed what to say, what we're doing. The Charlie Kirk is on a Live Free tour, and I'll be at that event. So you can get tickets to go see Charlie speak tomorrow. And then also, if you see me walking around the campus, don't be afraid to say hello. Would love to say hi to you. And then also on Friday, I'm in Newport Beach at another Turning Point event, the West Coast Regional Conference. Should be a great time. Again, if you're either in those areas, Austin, Texas, or Newport Beach, California, would love to see you. We'll see you at the same time tomorrow. Actually, you know what? No, we'll broadcast at the same time. It might not be live, but it'll be like live-ish, live adjacent, live like an hour earlier because I got to catch a plane to Austin tomorrow. So regardless, we'll see you same time, same place, mañana. God bless America.